All right, welcome everyone. This is SACNAS webinar on our annual conference. My name is Daniela Bernal. I'm a member of the SACNAS staff, and thank you for being here for today's webinar. We have several members of the SACNAS staff joining us today. You see those folks here on camera, and I'll be calling on a few to share different parts about our conference. We also have the chat open for you to ask questions and share a little bit about yourself. And we will specifically have a Q&A section as well. But really feel free to submit your questions as you think of them. We want to make this interactive and engaging the entire time, so don't feel like you need to wait. Please feel free to access that Q&A section as those questions come to you. With that, we will get started here. Before we officially begin, we always want to take a moment here to acknowledge the original stewards of the lands we occupy. We recognize that we are joining this conversation from many places, each with its own deep histories, cultures, and traditions shaped by Indigenous peoples. We honor the resilience, knowledge, and contributions of Native nations and Indigenous communities, past and present, who continue to care for these lands and whose legacies shape the world we live in today. This acknowledgement is a call to reflect, learn, and take action in supporting Indigenous voices and self-determination. We encourage you to take a moment to recognize the lands you are on and to learn about the Indigenous peoples whose homelands you reside upon. If you'd like to learn more, we invite you to visit the link on the screen and in the chat to explore the history and contemporary presence of Indigenous communities in your area. Thank you. All right. Now, I am happy to go over a little bit of what we're going to cover today, and then we're going to kind of go through all this information. Again, this is recorded. We will be sending it out so you can access both the slides and the recording, and then all of the staff here, I'm sure, will share links and contact information so that your question, no matter what it is, will be answered. So that said, we will cover an overview of the conference, the different components. That includes the research that we have at our conference, our Graduate School and Career Expo, the ways in which we celebrate culture at the SACNAS Annual Conference, how to get involved, how to register, what travel looks like, and then of course a Q&A. Again, we welcome questions throughout. And then we'll close with some key dates, so I encourage you to stick around for that overview, and then some important next steps if you're planning to join us this year. So with that, let's get started with what our annual conference is. So again, I know we have many people in this webinar who may or may not have heard of SACNAS before or heard of our annual conference before. If you have, I welcome you to share a little bit in the chat about a SACNAS conference that you attended. That said, the SACNAS annual conference, we're super excited to be hosting this year, October 29 to 31 in Long Beach, California. It has been 10 years since we were in Long Beach before, and so we're very excited to be back. This conference is an annual gathering of our organization, SACNAS. SACNAS is a national network composed of college students and professionals pursuing STEM degrees and educations. We primarily serve college students and professionals in all STEM disciplines and coming from all areas of the country, including U.S. territories. And we also serve folks who have either an interest or a desire to pursue an advanced degree in STEM. And so our conference is really the hallmark of our community. It's where everybody is able to meet together once a year and to really celebrate not just our community, but the science that has been done, the hard work of our student presenters who are sharing their research, professional development, culture, and really gather in community to celebrate all of those things. One of the reasons, or I should say, one of the things that sets our conference apart when you think of a science or STEM conference really is how we center equally with the science, the culture, and the community. And we really believe that when you're able to bring your whole self and your full identity into your science and into your research and into your passions, that makes you a better scientist, a stronger, more resilient STEM professional. And that is really what we hear from our attendees when they participate in our conference, that they're gaining not just professional skills and technical skills, but also the confidence to persist in their STEM degrees and careers. And that is what we want to bring to you if you are planning to attend or participate in some way. So I do see, I'll pause just to share, I see someone shared in the chat that one of their students who attended the conference secured an internship for the following summer. I'm so glad you shared that. We'll definitely talk about the Career Expo coming up here, but it's definitely true. One of the things that we want to make sure is equally important in our conference is access to opportunity, next steps, and a lot of that happens in our Graduate and Career Expo, and we hear often that as students get access to some of those really cool opportunities they would not have otherwise had access to. So thank you for sharing, Laura. So as we get into the different components of the conference, I will just generally say we have them organized in kind of some main themes, but there really is a huge overlap in some of the things that I'm going to talk about, which is why I have invited, and we have many SACNAS staff here to help support the different areas of the conference and answer those questions. And sorry, my phone is ringing, I forgot to silence it. So that said, we'll get started with kind of what the science and the STEM portion of our conference. So of course, like many conferences, we do have breakout sessions every day over the course of the 3 days. You'll see, if you look on our website and look at our agenda, we have both STEM symposia sessions as well as professional development sessions. We also have kind of our main stage speakers in what you might call a general session or a plenary session. That's where we have our keynote speakers and our main featured speakers. Those are also happening every morning of the conference. And through all of those sessions and those speakers, again, folks are really sharing not just who they are professionally, but they're talking about their science, their journey, how they got to the place they're in, advice, next steps, opportunities, things like that. And so science is really showcased throughout all of our sessions and main stage speakers. The next big area that's very exciting at our conference, we have many, many research presentations happening, both poster sessions and oral presentations. Those are also happening on Thursday and Friday with an awards, research awards presentation on our last day on Saturday. And so if you or someone you know is interested in presenting their research at the conference, I will say the application deadline is coming up very quick. It is tomorrow, but it's not too late to start your application. So just throwing that out there, I would encourage you to take a look at that as soon as possible if that's something you're interested in. And I see the link is in the chat. Thank you. And again, I see another comment about someone sharing that their undergraduate student won an award for their poster presentation and is starting a PhD program this fall. Congratulations, we love to hear it. It's such a fun part of the conference, and we really do love to celebrate these young scientists who are presenting their research for the first time. For many of them, it's their first time presenting. It might be their first time presenting at the national level. And what we hear often is that our conference can be a really nice, welcoming space to have that first opportunity, because we do have so many wonderful volunteers, which I'll talk about soon, who volunteer to mentor and support these research presenters. And it's really that presentation and mentor experience that folks have at the conference that help build their confidence again, their science communication skills, their presentation skills, and prepare them for that next step. So thank you. Let's see. Speaking of those presentations, because those poster presentations are also in the hall, I definitely want to highlight our Graduate School and Career Expo, which we mentioned earlier. Our Graduate School and Career Expo is a large exhibit hall. I'm so sorry, I keep getting someone calling me. Our Graduate School and Career Expo happens over the course of 2 days, and we welcome hundreds of academic institutions, some government, and some private industry companies to be there to talk about their opportunities, to talk about applying to grad school. Many of them will offer application fee waivers. They'll share about their scholarship programs, their graduate schools, and just different opportunities to apply to those institutions or get involved. And then same thing with kind of our more industry partners who will have space there in the hall. They'll talk about internships, fellowships, and job opportunities. So we really encourage our students to spend a lot of time in the hall talking to these partners, getting information, sharing their resume, exchanging contact information. And through that ability to network and to talk to people face to face, as someone shared, we get a lot of folks who get tangible resources for next steps that they can take to get into graduate school or apply to many graduate school or programs, and then also apply for scholarships, internships, and ultimately jobs. And so it's a very important part of our conference, and again, happens on Thursday and Friday. And I'm mostly talking about the attendee experience, but if you are interested in exhibiting or having a space in that hall, I would definitely encourage you to let us know, and we can send you to the right person. I'm going to pause here because I do see some questions in the chat, and I say, why not answer them now? I see one question from Gabriela regarding the research presentation application. Is there any statistic on the acceptance to present? Thank you. I don't have that information with me, Gabriela, but I will put my colleague Emily's email in the chat if I can multitask. Someone please correct me if I'm putting the right one. presentations@sacnas.org. We can forward your question there, but just in case you have the email address as well, and that way you can see. I will say it is a competitive application. We get many, many applicants every year, and we have, in many ways, limited space. So we definitely encourage those who are applying to really take the time. Don't speed through your application, but make sure that you are reviewing our website for the information about what makes a strong application. I know there's resources and details there. And I always just recommend having another pair of eyes. Look at your application, make sure there's no typos or easy grammatical mistakes. That can always be something that you kind of speed through when you're looking at something over and over for a long time. You'll miss those little things. So definitely take the time to put together a strong application. I know the deadline's tomorrow, but we encourage you to do that so that you can submit a strong application, or encourage your students to submit a strong application. That said, let's see, the other question was, is the conference agenda on the website? Yes, we have an agenda at a glance, and I see Jessica put that in the chat. And then I think yes, okay, there we go. It is in the chat, and as Serene shared, the detailed agenda will be coming out soon, and that's where you can see the names of the sessions and speakers and things like that. So that info will be coming soon. But I definitely encourage looking at the agenda at a glance to get kind of a general sense of what the conference will look like. And then one more question, and thank you again. I encourage the questions, so keep them coming. Is there a prep checklist for the conference, including registration and accommodation details? That's a great question. I would say not necessarily in checklist form, but perhaps some of these slides that we shared today will serve as a checklist for you. That's a great suggestion. I would also say, if your student, you or your students are participating as a research presenter or a scholar in some way in one of our student programs, we usually have some preparation, some conference readiness preparation materials so that students can make the most of their experience. So prep in that sense once you're planning to attend. Checklist for getting yourself there and getting yourself registered and organized to get to the conference. Alex just shared a first time attending webpage, which has a lot of information and resources to kind of make sure you're covering all your bases. So there you go. There's a checklist. All right, awesome. And glad to see we have a sponsor attending. Amazing. Thank you so much. We're excited to see you there. Okay, continuing on, and I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, but we really do appreciate all of the various volunteers that help make this conference possible. And so I wanted to share some opportunities in case you yourself are interested in volunteering. Not only is it a great way to give service to the organization and to help other students, but honestly, especially if you yourself might be a recruiter or looking to connect with students, it's a great way to meet students. And so if you are interested, all the information is here. We do have an opportunity to review applications online, so that's an at-home prior to the conference opportunity. And then during the conference, I mentioned we have mentored judges who help provide feedback to our research presenters. So that's an in-person opportunity at the conference. And then additionally, we have a session, it's one of our hallmark sessions. It's called Conversations with Scientists, which is a huge networking session where folks break out by discipline and then have some nice talks about what their experience is like, what questions students might have of professionals who are in that space. And that's a really, really great networking event, and we always need volunteers to help kind of lead that. So if you are interested, the link is available there in the chat, the volunteering opportunities. Again, every year we have hundreds of members who are really supporting all of these opportunities, and so we appreciate you for any time and expertise that you can lend to our future generation of STEM leaders. And if you want more information, please let us know. Continuing on, the other thing that makes, and I think I mentioned this before, but that really makes our conference a unique experience for students and helps kind of validate and uplift and celebrate their various identities and backgrounds and experiences is the way we infuse culture throughout the conference. So it's not just going to be, something you see in our artwork or just on our webpage or just in our signage, but it is throughout the entire event. So I did list a couple of things here that I wanted to highlight in terms of how we celebrate culture. One is our Indigenous Marketplace. This is made up of many different kinds of Indigenous vendors who showcase their creative ability through their artwork and their craftsmanship. This is a vital part of the conference and allows attendees to connect with Indigenous artists from the local area, as well as many who travel with us and come from other parts of the country. And for many of our vendors, they follow us every year to do that and share their crafts and artwork with our community. The other is the annual SACNAS powwow. This happens on Friday. This is a cultural social celebration that helps bring in conference attendees to partake in a contemporary Native American event. This powwow will showcase popular styles of dance from all across Indian country and maybe even more specific styles to the area where we are in this year, which is Long Beach. It's a great opportunity to immerse yourself into the experience and learn about Native American culture And so it is an open event for anyone at the conference to attend, not just Native American participants, but really all attendees are welcome. And then lastly, we always close with a pachanga, which is a really fun dance on our closing day on Saturday. That's where we get to let loose and really celebrate the close of our conference together. So a couple of different places or things to highlight in terms of culture, but you will see culture celebrated throughout the event. Um, so with that, I'll pause again for questions. Let me just see here. Do you need to apply to become a mentor judge? And the answer is also here. You can sign up to volunteer on the volunteering page. So thank you, Jessica. And when can we get the results of the travel scholarship? I believe those should go out late summer is what I understand, but if you would like more specific information, Nicholas, you can always check in with our team by emailing our student programs manager at the email that I am simultaneously typing in the chat. So if you would like to check on that and get a more accurate response, please feel free to email. Yes, absolutely. Okay, continuing on. The next area I really want to highlight is just the robust community that we have gathered at our annual conference. And again, this is similar to culture, going to be infused throughout our event, but I want to highlight a couple of things. I mentioned our plenary sessions are where our keynote and featured speakers share their personal stories and really serve as role models in STEM, sharing not just their personal but also their professional journey, sharing a little bit about their research, how they got to where they are, and really motivating students and participants that they can do it too, and different pieces of advice and tips that they learned along the way. Those sessions are every morning and include music, fun activities. It's a really great experience to be in this huge plenary hall together and get to see these amazing speakers on the big stage. We also have lunch every day, and I mentioned conversations with scientists that takes place over lunch typically, but the other days lunches is a great time to network more informally with different attendees and just get to build your network, learn from the folks that are sitting around you over a meal. We also have networking receptions on Thursday evening usually, and this is a great one to kind of explore the different affinity groups within SACNAS. We have a Women in STEM reception, we have a Native American reception, we have a leadership alumni reception, many receptions, and I would just generally say that I always encourage folks to use those as a networking opportunity, especially as a first-time attendee. It's a great way to kind of get to know the different spaces and places that we make for our members to connect over a shared affinity. I mentioned the pachanga, again, just a fun dance to have in community. And then lastly, of course, our volunteer opportunities in so many ways are a place to build that relationship with students or potential students that you might want to bring to your program in the future. So with that, as I pause for one more question, what is the time deadline for abstract submission tomorrow? I believe, if someone can please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's usually 5 p.m. Pacific time, but as I pass it over to someone else, I'll double check that for you, Sarah. So with community, I want to hand it over to someone who works with a significant arm of our community, which is our chapters. So I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Angel, our National Chapters Program Manager, to talk a little bit about what chapters are and can expect at the conference.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniela. Really appreciate it. My name is Angel Rebollar, and I am the chapters manager at SACNAS. So if you're part of a chapter, and even if you're not part of a SACNAS chapter, we invite you to participate in all of these opportunities that we will be having throughout the conference. Throughout the 3 days, we will be having four dedicated chapter sessions, which I will put in the chat, which ones they are. So they will be spread out through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So come and learn more about, advising your chapter, being an officer, fundraising for your chapter. We're going to have a lot of speakers and very experienced chapter members that are going to participate in these sessions. We will also have a chapter award ceremony and a plenary reception for our awardees. So every year we celebrate our chapters via the chapter award ceremony. Selected awardees are presented at the reception and invite all members, whether you're a part of a chapter or not, to come and network with the chapter community. And if you're a part of a chapter and would like to submit an application for an award, these are due by August 9th. We are also planning networking lunches throughout the 3 days. We are in the process of deciding the topics for these, but they will most likely be based on your area or your region. The SACNAS chapters in Texas have always done a networking lunch at the conference for the past 3 years, and we are hoping to expand these to other states and areas for this year's conference. So more information will be coming soon. And if you are interested in starting a SACNAS chapter or even just networking with me and asking any questions about chapters in general, or anything with our members, you can meet me at the SACNAS booth. I will be there for the 2 days on Thursday and Friday. Throughout most of the exhibiting hall hours, I will be there. And if you don't find me, please always feel free to ask for me, and I'll be around in the convention center. So yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know at chapters@sacnas.org. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat as well.
Thank you, Angel. Next up, I want to also welcome another speaker or another colleague of mine to talk about registration. We've talked a lot about all of the various things that you have access to once you attend or when you're there. And so obviously a key question is, okay, yes, I'm down. I want to go. How do I register? What do I do? How do I get there? And so for that, I want to introduce Serene to talk a little bit about how you can register. Hey, Serene.
Thank you, Daniela. Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you. If you've attended before, you probably would have seen me in registration. So I'm happy to be here and answer any questions you might have. We get a lot of questions usually about groups. I'm going to drop in the chat the direct website to direct link to the registration page, and that also will show you our full conference website with a bunch of information and a lot of answers to the questions you're asking in the chat today. So some key dates to know are that our early bird rate actually ends tomorrow. So if you're thinking of registering, if you register today, by end of day tomorrow, you have $100 off our regular rates that then start on the 11th. The regular rates are July 11th through October 4th. And if you click that link that I dropped in the chat, you'll be able to see the different rates and for students, postdocs, and professionals. And then we have our late rate, which starts in October. If you are a travel scholar and you have you've applied, obviously we don't hear back till around the end of summer, so we just ask that you wait to register, and at that time we will be able to honor the early bird rate for you. So we just ask for you to wait to know if you did get the scholarship, and if you did receive the scholarship, obviously it's covered, and if not, then we'll be able to honor the early bird rate for you at that time. The other big question is about groups. And so we have two options for registering groups. One is if you know the names of the people that you want to bring. So you know Sam, Joe, and Samantha, and you have their emails, you can bring them you can have their information when you register. But we have another option, which is called group passes. And that is in case you don't know the names, you know that you have a budget that allows for maybe 4 students, but you don't know exactly who they are yet. Maybe you'll be able to identify them after the summer session ends. And so the option for that is called group passes, and you can go in and just buy kind of like a booklet of passes. And when you're ready, you can hand those out to your students or your colleagues. So that makes it a little bit easier for if you're trying to kind of get in under this current budget season. And so you can find all of that information there. I'll also drop the specific page to the group registration so that you have that as well. And I can pause there if there are any questions. Okay, feel free to drop them in the chat if anything pops up. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Alex. Alex, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you. And so we also get a lot of questions about travel. And so the main one is about hotels. You can see listed right here on the screen the list of hotels that we have partnered with this year. If you're looking for the special SACNAS rate, you can find those booking links within your confirmation email. If you are an exhibitor, you will see the confirmation or the booking links once you have added your booth staff to your booth. And then for airports, the closest airport to the Long Beach Convention Center will be the Long Beach Airport. It's about a 16-minute drive, but there are two other airports that you can also fly into, which would be the John Wayne Airport, which is a little more down south, and then the LAX, which is west. Both of those will be a longer commute, but that just gives you more options into trying to find your flight into the area. And then on our travel website, which I can drop the link after this, or on our travel page, we do have a slightly discounted partnership with Southwest Airlines. And so if you use our code, you will be able to get a discount on your flights. And then just a little information about the Long Beach Convention Center. We have the address right there. And if you're going to be driving to the convention center, there will be parking on site, but it is just $15 per day. And then if you are not bringing a car and you're hoping to get around town, you can use the Metro and you can also use the Long Beach Transit System. And those are both great ways to get around. And then to also go back to the hotels, most of these hotels are within walking distance, about 10 minutes or so or less to the convention center. And then there's just two hotels, the Westin and the Best Western, that we will actually be providing all-day shuttles to and from the hotel. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Serene and Alex. I know those are always very frequently asked questions, so thank you for giving all that detailed information. And I think as folks percolate, if you have more questions on that, please take advantage of having the experts here with us. That in mind, that concludes most of what we have prepared for you, and so we are ready to answer any other questions that you may have. Feel free to continue using the chat for questions. I think that's working just fine, or you can click the Q&A button kind of towards the bottom of Zoom. In the meantime, let's see here, because I know I saw some as we were wrapping up. I want to scroll up to a question. What kind of schools attend the graduate fair? Any health professional programs, or is this tailored more towards research-based graduate programs? And the answer to that is both. I would say it's probably mostly research-based graduate programs, but really we have a variety, including health professional programs. I also mentioned we have government agencies, we have private industry, and we even have some kind of like partner organization, peer organizations, I should say, other nonprofits, other associations or societies. So it really is a mix. And if you're thinking about whether you should be in the hall, I would say definitely take a look at our exhibit hall or our exhibits webpage for that opportunity. And then on the flip side, if you're attending, one of the things I always recommend is as we get closer, the list of who's in the hall becomes available on our website, and you can kind of go through and prioritize the institutions, do a little research, I would even say, on who's going to be there, who do you want to make sure you talk to, and kind of plan your schedule that way, because it can be a big hall, it can be very overwhelming, and then depending on what you're looking for, you might want to kind of make like a little schedule for yourself. So hopefully that answers your question, Lysis, about the hall. Let's see, and I'll just read this just so that it's shared as well in case you don't see it in the chat. There was a question about as a faculty member attending with my students, Should I register now with the cheaper price or do the group registration for my students later? Serene did answer that and said, yes, you can absolutely register now to lock in the cheaper rate. I think that's what we would generally recommend. And then she said, if you know the number of students you plan to bring, you can purchase the group pass now to lock in the cheaper rate. So perfect, thank you. Another question I see, I purchased a postdoc / new professional membership because I am a new professional. Perfect. However, it is only letting me purchase the postdoc registration. Is this okay? Yes. Membership is tied, the type of SACNAS membership that you purchase, and I was going to talk about membership soon as well, but essentially the type of SACNAS membership that you have will kind of direct which registration level you're in. So it sounds like that should be fine as if you consider yourself a new professional. We have that both of those words, postdoc and new professional, in one type of membership. Your registration will say postdoc. As long as that's okay with you, it is okay with us. So hopefully that answers that question. Congrats on being a new professional, by the way. Let's see, another question I see is the confirmation email once you have registered. I believe the answer to that is yes. And then if we're a sponsor, do we need to individually register our attendees? That is a great question. Someone on the reg team, do you know the answer for sponsors who are registering?
Yes, I actually see that Serene just answered.
Oh. Okay, perfect. Did you want to add anything, Serene?
I can just speak to it. So with most of our sponsorships, there are complimentary registrations that come with that package. And so you're welcome to email me. I can actually, you know what I'll do? I'll put in exhibit at SACNAS.org. You might recognize the name Dawn. So Dawn manages our sponsorships and our exhibitors. And so you can email her for the codes to use to register. And if you don't hear back, which I'm sure you will, feel free to email me as well. And I'll put my direct email in here.
Awesome. Thank you, Serene. The next question I see here is, when does the notification of being a presenter come out? Apologies if this was answered before. No worries. I believe, and I did pull up the website to double check, it looks like research presentations, again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, research presentation notifications will be in August, unless you
Correct.
early.
It'll be August 14th for the summer notification cycle.
Okay, awesome. And then for the spring cycle, is that a different date?
Yeah, the spring already, they were notified on May 8th. If you were on the wait list, you will find out if you get off the wait list by the end of August.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Alex. Okay, great. Continuing on, I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I will let that percolate for a moment. And then let me just double check the actual Q&A in case I missed something there. Okay, no other questions. We'll keep going, but keep them coming. We have just a couple of closing reminders and information for you. So again, if you think of a question as we continue, as we close, we still have plenty of time to answer. So as we wrap up here, we just wanted to share a recap kind of the most important stuff, because we know that time goes quickly and deadlines will pass, and we want to make sure you have all of the information up front. So again, the research presentation deadline for this cycle is tomorrow, as well as the early bird registration deadline. So definitely take a look at those things. It's not too late, but we encourage you to do that before the deadline. Generally speaking, our speaker information will come out around August, same with more detailed information about the program. And so you can keep an eye out for that. I would definitely say whether or not you register before then, I might encourage that you sign up for our email list. I'm going to talk about membership in a moment, but stay connected so that you get the information once we announce who those speakers are. That's always an exciting thing to receive. Angel mentioned the chapter awards deadline. So if anyone here is part of a chapter, just another push for our chapters who are doing some really amazing work year-round and locally at their institution and in their local area. We love to highlight your good work through our chapter awards, and every chapter, student and professional, is eligible to apply for an award. Later in September, we'll have more information about the agenda. As I said, again, the agenda at a glance is already on our website, so you could get a general idea there. And then, of course, October is the last chance to register because we will be there in Long Beach, October 29 to 31. So we hope to see you there. That said, again, a great first step, regardless of what you plan to do or how you're thinking about being involved in this year's conference or maybe a future conference as well, is to join us as a member. Of course, we talked a lot about the annual conference in this webinar, but SACNAS is a year-round organization. We have year-round programming, events, and services available for our members. And so you are welcome, and we invite you to join us as a member on our website to continue to access a discount on conference registration. Our members get a members-only rate, which is great, but also to continue to get more information and resources about preparing for the conference, recordings from the conference, and invites to future conferences. Aside from the conference, as I mentioned, we have year-round programming. We have a wonderful mentoring program. We have a career con virtual event that happens in the spring. We have webinars very regularly like this, but with all kinds of different information and content. And we have a career center where you can continue to engage in those kinds of opportunities year-round. And so I could talk on and on about what membership is, but we definitely would encourage you to sign up as a member to stay connected and continue to get information about this year's conference and future conferences and events. And then second, of course, once you become a member, again, register as early as possible. You'll not only save money in terms of the early bird rate, but also if you're a member, again, you'll get the members only rate. So those two things, you'll be on our email list. You'll get all of the information as we approach the conference and go into future events as well. So with that, oh, and thank you. I see the link in the chat. That really concludes what we have prepared today. So I just want to pause one more time to see if there are any other lingering questions. And if not, I don't think I see any. But if not, then oh great, just kidding, I do see one. Let's see. Can I do my research presentation application without being a member, or I have to do that first? Yes, you do need to be a member to apply for a research presentation application, and so I would use that link above there that Jessica shared to sign up. It takes a couple of minutes to set up your membership, and then you'll have access to the application portal. But if you need any assistance or have any issues at all, because we know the deadline is tomorrow, then we will do our best to help you quickly so that you can do that as fast as possible. Great question. When and how do we ship materials? Is this, Leticia, is this for being an exhibitor? Perhaps. Yes, okay. I don't have the details for that yet, but Serene does. Yay, Serene.
I think I can help with that.
Thank you.
I just dropped the link into the Booth Management Service Center, and we actually just had a meeting about this week. So within the next week or so, they are going to drop in that service center, which is locked by your email and password. So you would have received that in an email. you can go in there and you'll find all the things that are related to being an exhibitor. And one of them is all the information for where to ship, the address, how to label it. And so that should be within that service center within the next week or two.
Perfect.
And if you don't have it, if you don't see it, just email exhibits and she'll be able to get it to you.
Thank you, Serene. And I'm putting that email in the chat as well. Exhibits with an S. Okay, another question I see, what percentage of travel scholarship applicants are funded? I don't have an exact percentage as it changes every year depending on our funding. And so what I can generally say is that it is always a very competitive application. Of course, and we try to fund as many applicants as we can. That said, because it's so competitive, we definitely encourage folks, and maybe someone can help me or I'll pull it up too. We do have a resource webpage on funding your way to a conference that can either help complement or supplement whether or not you receive a travel scholarship through us. A lot of times folks can either go to their institution to request funding. I definitely know it helps if you are also presenting your research to request funding from your institution. There's also crowdfunding and other fundraising ideas in there. And then we're also always available to help. If you start a crowdfunding campaign or fundraiser, please let us know. We want to help spread the word as well. And so if you have any questions, thank you, Alex. That resource is there, and we are happy to help with ideas and suggestions on that front. The other thing maybe I'll add to that is if you are part of your chapter, many of our SACNAS chapters collectively fundraise to get to the conference. And so if you are at an institution and have never connected with your chapter, I encourage you to take a look at reaching out to them and seeing what resources they might have as well. And they might have more information about how to work with your institution on funding as well. Hopefully that answers that question. Any others? I hope that covered the majority of the questions. But as always, we are here to answer your questions at any time. I realize that my last slide is gone, so I don't have the slide with all our emails on it, but I'm going to put 2 emails that I think will be very helpful. info@sacnas.org for any other questions you think of. If you email there, we will direct you to the right department and make sure that your question is answered. And then the other one I was going to put was our membership one. Again, similarly, if you ask a general question there, we will make sure it gets to the right place. And then there's so many emails that were shared in the chat. I know Reg is a common one as well. Any questions that you have, please don't hesitate to email us to get that answer. That said, just a couple of last minute things. This webinar was recorded, so thank you very much for being here and contributing your questions to this event recording. You will receive a link, an email with a link to the recording, the slides, and some contact information. Again, if you think of any other questions, so please feel free to forward that to anyone who you think might find this information useful. And then secondly, when you close, there should be a very quick survey to ask how you enjoyed this webinar. We appreciate it if you fill that out and let us know what kinds of future information or resources would be helpful for us to share with you. With that concludes today's webinar. Thank you again to all of my colleagues who are here helping answer questions. I appreciate you so much. Thank you to everyone in the chat who contributed a question, and particularly to those who are thinking about or who are sponsoring or being in the hall or serving as a volunteer. We appreciate you. We couldn't put together this conference without you, so thank you. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, week, month, and we hope to see you in Long Beach soon. Thank you so much.